Hello and welcome to my show, The Awakening, here on WGSN-DB, the Going Bold and Going Solo Network. The information and opinions expressed on this show are just that, the opinions of the individual speaking based on their individual personal experience. They are not intended to diagnose and do not constitute professional advice or recommendations. So, all of the pain, stress, and struggle that divorcing men and women go through? Well, there is a way to find peace and sanity and assist the lawyer in their legal process, which can save you thousands of dollars. My name's Tina Huggins. I'm your divorce coach specialist, divorce planning specialist, restorative family mediator, and conflictual co-parenting coach. And today we're graced, and I was just telling her how beautiful she was dressed in blue. So we have Miss Ellen here with us today. And Ellen is a certified health coach and independent ambassador for the nation's original in-home food tasting company. As a result of her own health issues and severe allergies in her family, Ellen learned the importance of smart eating. She is passionate about helping busy families save money, save time, and find more easy in their day and in their evenings. Ellen is on a mission to empower, guide, support, and educate busy women to be in control of their health with a focus on simple, healthy cooking so that they can look better, feel better, and they eat better. Ellen is celebrating her 26th year with the food company. She has consistently received a regional and national recognition, reaching a major career milestone. Ellen recently collaborated with colleagues to create an ebook that is filled with recipes and healthy tips. So thank you for joining me here today, Ellen.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me to be here with you.
Yes, yes. I just love her. So that's part of why she's here. She's just such a
Thank
sweet
you.
person. And when I met her, it was just like, I have to have her. Just your energy here is super important. That and the fact that, as we go through divorce aspect, because that's what I do, the divorce process is so full of stress, lack of sleep, and these people have to make decisions with that brain that hasn't slept, hasn't eaten well, and is so full of stress. So for me, that's super important for people to understand just how important food is in our daily lives. And so as I was going through some of the stuff that you had said that we might get to talk about, I read food prep, and oh my God, I myself, because I have been in the weightlifting aspect and I have tried food prep, and it's just that fact that of spending all day Sunday, a day I would love to be doing anything but cooking in a hot kitchen, prepping food. So tell us a little bit how what you do is definitely not that.
What I do is definitely not that. How's that? Okay. So about 15 years ago, I guess, I started doing meal prep with people. And I use my favorite spices from my favorite company that I've been with for 26 years. And we started doing things in real life. So my friends they'd get their seasonings from me. I would send them a grocery list, and we would meet in real life at someone's house, or, a room in a church, or a room wherever. And we would prep 10 entrees for the freezer. So it would be like, just imagine a cooler on wheels with about 30 pounds of raw meat in it, in bags, that goes home. And it goes home with everybody in their freezer, labeled with what it's going to be when it comes out, gets defrosted and cooked. So some people meal prep and they cook for a week, right? And then they have all this food in their refrigerator that they end up throwing away on Friday because their schedule changed and they didn't eat what they cooked and prepared. So that in itself is a total waste of money. So what I do is I empower people to know how to season up meats and proteins, how to season them up, put them in bags in the freezer. So if your schedule changes, you just pull out, defrost, and cook whenever you want to. So, like the night before, you go, oh, tomorrow night we're going to have this seasoned steak. So you take the steak out of the freezer, put it in the refrigerator. So the next evening, all you have to do is cook it. So so it takes that stress out of what am I going to make? What am I going to prepare? What am I going to cook? And you also know that part of that prep is done already. And I kind of learned that bit of a lesson because there was one time I went away for a conference and my husband was with the kids when I was away, and I had cooked and prepared things and put them in the refrigerator so they could have food the whole time I was away. And when I came home, I opened the refrigerator and I'm like, what the heck? We decided to go here, we decided to go there, so we didn't eat the stuff that you made. And I'm like, well, that's pretty stupid. So I learned my lesson, like, okay, how do I prep these things for the freezer? So the next time I went away on a business trip, I had seasoned everything up. I put it in the freezer, right, with labels, with recipes, how to pull this out, defrost it, and cook it and prepare it. And when I came home and all this stuff was still in the freezer, I was so happy because I didn't have to cook for the whole next week because all these meals were done. So, so meal prepping with people, it is something. So I started doing it in real life all those years ago. And then thanks to COVID, I figured out and I had to figure out how to do it on Zoom. One of my clients reached out to me when COVID hit and she said, hi, Ellen, this is Lorraine. And I just need to let you know that COVID or not, my family still needs to eat. My family needs you, and we're going to figure out how to do this on Zoom. Or I should say, Ellen, you're going to figure out how to do this on Zoom, right? And I went, okay, figure it out. So I realized very quickly that people are not going to hang out with me on Zoom and prep 10 entrees for the freezer because that takes too long. When you're in real life and you're having fun doing it, that's great. But being on Zoom, so now I do either 3 or 5 entrees with people on Zoom, and that's it in 30 minutes, done. And the fun of it is we get to make new friends, right? So whoever new pops on with us is great. You know, they get their spices ahead of time, they get their grocery list, and they meet on Zoom with their meat in a freezer bag with the spices and the ingredients they need. And in 30 minutes, they've got meals for the freezer. So the stress that it takes away, there was God, one of my friends, he's a gentleman, and he has been religiously meal prepping with me for 18 months. Okay, so 18 times on Zoom. And some of the meals that we do, he ends up cooking for his family that night, or he leaves it in the refrigerator to cook the next night. So it's just the simplicity. It's saving tons of money because some of these people are people that used to have like those meal kit delivery services delivered to their house, but they're pretty costly. And then if your schedule changes, you end up with like, you know, meals of food that you need to cook up all at once because you didn't get to cook up the 3 during the whole week that you got them. So I just find that I help people save money, save time, and save their sanity when it comes to meal prep.
Well,
Boy,
and
you
that,
got the long version of that answer.
hey, hey, that works. So I am one of those people that have the meal prep things. And so my deal is that I was buying all the food, just like you said, and it was just going bad. I wasn't cooking it. I wasn't cooking it. And so it was going bad. So now I do order the meal prep. And as I was sitting here listening to you, I'm like, God, this would help a ton if I didn't, it would save the money, not so much help as much as it would save the money. And it wouldn't obviously be that long to set up the 3 meals for a week or whatever. Doing it with you would be a whole lot cheaper overall. Now, that said, it has been cheaper for me to do the meal prep company things, because it all came to me all pre-done, all ready to go, and I just followed the instructions. And because, and this is what I'm thinking about, just doing what you're saying, I have liked the cooking part of it. It has been something that normally I like cooking, but I don't love it. And so when I want to cook, I want to cook. And having the meals already ready, like you're saying, pull them out of the freezer, that would be so much easier for me to be able to pull it out of the freezer, which is kind of what I'm doing. And I get the meat and I throw it in the freezer and then as I go, but just like you're saying, that fresh stuff, it goes to waste if I don't get it cooked in that week.
Yep, absolutely. And it's funny because some people say they love doing the 3 meals at a time. Some love doing the 5 meals at a time. And a cool thing is like these recipes that I choose, they either serve 4 or they serve 6. And there's a client of mine she had reached out to me a while ago. She lives by herself. And she said, basically in a message to me, I'm sick of takeout, fast food, these extra pounds I'm carrying around. Can you help me? So I said, I don't know. Let's talk.
Right?
So so we got on the phone, we talked, and we ended up meeting up. I showed her what the seasonings look like and the recipes. We ended up preparing entrees for her for the freezer. And since she was living by herself, we kind of went with the mindset of, you know, pack them as if you're cooking for dinner and lunch, right? You're cooking for dinner tonight, for lunch the next day, because lunchtime was horrible for her because that's where her biggest food bill was, from the takeout at lunches. So we did that, and we ended up with like a month's worth of meals in her freezer. Just,
Mm,
just the entree, just basic
yeah.
the protein, because the side dishes are really simple to pull together, a salad or whatever. And and then at the end of that month, she ended up inviting some friends over, and we did it with her friends. Then a couple of months later, we did it with her aunt, her sister, and we just had this great time. And at the end of a year, her Facebook anniversary picture showed up, and all she said was, "Holy whatever." I don't even look like that anymore. I'm down 24 pounds. I've saved $1,500 on my lunch bills, and I'm forever grateful. So, even thinking whether you're cooking for a family, right, or whether you're cooking for yourself, you still deserve to be cooked for, right, or cook for yourself. And just thinking in terms of not cooking an entire serving for 6 and then eating it the whole week, because then you'll never want to eat these recipes again because you'll be so bored. But just thinking, I'll cook for dinner or lunch, right? Dinner tonight, lunch tomorrow. And, tonight it'll be hot, tomorrow it'll be cold on a sandwich or on a salad. So you can vary things up too, so you're not bored. So, just doing things for yourself. Some people, when they're just 1 or 2 people at home, they say, well, why should I even bother cooking? And that's all the more reason to cook, because it helps you keep healthier. It helps you know what you're eating instead of eating out and not really knowing what's in your food.
Right, right. And that's, I mean, I have a friend that she talks about healthy eating, as far as what's not healthy, and when people go out, what's in their food and that type of stuff. So it's like,
Mhm.
going out to Taco Bell or Burger King or whatever, that meat is not the same kind of meat that you're prepping to cook. So the meat that you are, and like in my freezer, I actually have meat that's from our own cow, so we have our own clean meat that we fed and raised. And so it's clean. And so often when we go to a restaurant or something, it's not, we don't get what we think we're getting.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, sometimes I hear too that, somebody will want to eat healthy, but they're not sure how to do it when they go out to eat. Like, I'm looking at a menu and I can't figure out what to eat. And, yes, something says gluten free, but that doesn't mean it's healthy just because it's free of gluten. And So a little tip I have for that. Do you want to hear it? Like
Yes.
how you can eat healthy even when you go out to eat? Okay. I am a highly allergic household. Okay, so I knew my son is 28 years old. He was born with lots of allergies. And many times we would bring his own food. I'm not telling you to bring your own food, but then we got to the point where we would just tell the server, there's allergies here. And then he got to the point he was just telling the servers, not me. I would just shut up and let him talk. But for me, I have a lot of foods that I cannot eat. Am I allergic to them and will they kill me? No. But does my body react badly to them? Yes. So I go out to eat and I just tell the server, get your pad out. I've got some food allergies to tell you about. And she's like, okay. And the pad comes out with a long piece of paper. And I just go through and I just say, I am allergic to whatever it is I don't eat. And sometimes I get to meet the chef. And there were times when I've gone away on incentive trips that I've earned, and they're like, to Cancun, Riviera Maya, et cetera, where Spanish is main language. So I typed up
Mhm.
these allergy cards in Spanish. So when I go to restaurants, my husband laughs at me because I get to meet the restaurant manager, the maitre d', the chef. I get to meet everybody. And I end up eating so much better than many other people because they take such care of what they feed me because I have my little allergy card. So if you want to eat healthy and you want to eat out and enjoy your meals, just say, my friend Ellen, no, please don't blame it on me. But but in all seriousness, you could say that this is an allergy and they will prepare because it's an allergy.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand. Like I know I kind of fit into this with tomatoes. It's not so much how it feels in my mouth, but the acid of a tomato by itself, I can't have. So I won't order it on like a hamburger or in my salad. Now, if it's mixed in pico de gallo, then I'm okay with that because the lemon or whatever else is in there neutralizes
Right.
that.
Right.
But my son has a struggle with the feel of mushrooms in his mouth. So I just tell him when you go to restaurants, and he's a chef too, so he gets it now. But I'm like, just tell them that you're allergic to mushrooms. You don't have to say you don't like that. Just tell them you're allergic to that because then they won't put it in there. So
Yep.
that's super important. Now, for me, I don't have like everyone, because I have a thyroid issue, and everyone says, well, you need to go gluten free because of it. Gluten free didn't change anything. But in the process, I did realize that I cannot properly digest rice of all the things. I can eat some of it. I'm not okay with that. But if I eat too much, then we have stomach and bowel issues for a whole day. So I have learned in my case that if it's on my plate, I don't eat very much of that. So in that, I mean, talking about allergies and stuff, I know you and I talked just prior to coming on here about the foods that are helpful for us when we're under stress and that can help us actually sleep. So can you go over some of that for us?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, let's start with stress. Um, so when it comes to reducing stress in a diet, incorporating like certain healthy foods can be very, very beneficial. So let's start with nuts and seeds. Okay, things like almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, right? They contain omega-3s, fatty acids, magnesium that are important for brain health and stress reduction. So along the lines of like the nuts and seeds, make your own trail mix. And when you make your own trail mix, like don't just put almonds in it, put a variety of the nuts and seeds in it because they all have different benefits in supporting your body. So do the almonds, the walnuts, the pumpkin seeds, the sunflower seeds. And if you need something like a little sweet in there, like a little bits of dark chocolate, like not really milk chocolate because that's throwing dairy in there, but the dark chocolate is good. And I try and like do things that are low in sugar or no sugar, but the little bits of dark chocolate I find just adds that nice little bit of flavor. So making your own trail mix. Fatty fish, right? Salmon is the number one fish. Salmon, sardines, high in omega-3s, avocado, the healthiest fat on the face of the earth thing to have. Berries, blueberries especially, and strawberries. Dark chocolate, I did mention that in moderation. And don't do dark chocolate too close to bedtime because you want to be able to sleep. Uh, whole grains, okay, so like oatmeal is good, quinoa, brown rice, and herbal teas, especially before bed, bananas, and yogurt, and leafy greens like spinach and kale.
And
Send them.
so, like bananas before bed, is that the same as the tea before bed?
Well, when we talk about things that help you sleep at night, bananas is on that same list of helping you
Kind of
sleep
what
at.
I thought.
Yeah. And what's interesting is we just talked about rice a little while ago. White rice, this is interesting because it's my little list here says consuming white rice a few hours before bed can help you get to sleep. And the reason for that is that white rice is high on the glycemic index. So it spikes your blood sugar and then you crash. So I'm not a fan of white rice.
There we go. Yeah.
Even,
So,
yeah, I like to be even throughout the day. I don't like, and I don't like telling people, like, oh, spike your blood sugar and then crash and you'll sleep fine at night. No, we
yeah.
don't want to do that. But also things that are beneficial to sleep promoting. Almonds, there you go with those nuts. Turkey, right? How many times do you hear people on Thanksgiving, right? They put themselves in a turkey coma because they ate so much turkey they fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So turkey does that to you. Chamomile tea, passion flower tea, kiwi may help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Part cherry juice, and there you have that fatty fish again. The
Mm-hmm.
walnuts and the bananas that we talked about. And just things like an evening routine, right? Some people say they snack a lot late at night and they want ideas on like how to not snack late at night. Let's say you have your dinner and then like 8 o'clock at night, just get yourself into like a little routine. Have a cup of that herbal tea, a cup of chamomile tea, and let that be you telling your body, okay, my evening is done. Well, your evening may not be done, but I'm eating, my eating is done for the night. Or some people after dinner, right? Or maybe at 8 o'clock, like having that 8 o'clock eating cutoff or 7 o'clock eating cutoff, just go brush your teeth. Because when you brush your teeth, right, that kind of signals like, okay, I'm done. So that
Mm-hmm.
could be your little cue of I'm done eating, and do that. And that helps you wind down too. And then, just for nighttime routine, how many times, Tina, have you heard, shut your electronics off an hour before bedtime? How many times do you actually do that?
Do that. Right.
No, people don't do that. But at least when it comes to like not eating late at night, right? Then you can kind of like have that tea. I started doing that too. I like 7:30-ish, I'll have like a cup of either like decaf green tea or chamomile tea. And I find that I don't want to eat after that because it's almost like I told myself, okay, I'm done.
And I don't do so much chamomile tea, and even sometimes I'll do black tea at night. It's just that I don't know, the mental thing is just like you say, brushing your teeth. I will be to where I can drink the tea and I drink it slow. So my thing is that the warmth and the
Mm.
teacup and so all of that plays a part. And I can tell you it doesn't really matter to me what tea it is that I'm not hungry after that. That warmth in my stomach just kind of makes me feel good. And then when I'm actually not feeling good, like just feeling that I need something, I will just pour me some like chicken broth and heat it up,
There you
because
go.
that tea, chicken broth itself, is something that takes that, I get that little bit of salt taste and everything inside, and it's the warmth, and then I don't feel like I'm hungry.
Okay. And then I can ask you a chicken broth question.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I'm smart enough to answer that one.
Do you make your own chicken broth or do you buy the container or
This I've been buying since my husband passed. I've been buying chicken broth and using it like in the mashed potatoes and stuff like that. So yes, it does better. And we have made our own chicken and beef broth, specifically beef broth.
okay. Yeah, because when you cook up chicken, right, one of the things I always say is, cook up like a bigger batch of chicken,
Hmm.
right? And then save the chicken, whether for soup or sandwiches or salads, right? So you have a lot of uses for the chicken, and then save that chicken broth,
Yeah,
and even freeze it in ice cube trays or, small containers or something. This way you could always have your chicken broth and not the, containered and store stuff.
the
Yeah.
bought ones. And most of the time in that case, they're so high in sodium. Now, for me, that's part of why I have done chicken broth in the past, is because I needed that sodium, that salt taste. My
Mhm.
thyroid, we taught our thyroid back in birth, basically, because they add iodine to salt, that we've taught our bodies to realize, oh, I need iodine, so iodine is salty, and so we crave that salt. So I make sure in my case that I've got pink salt versus just a regular table salt.
Okay. Yes. Sea salt, pink salt,
Hmm.
all good.
And so I know this, and just looking at your beautiful face, eating healthy helps the complexion. So that's something that, do you just off the top of your head know of the foods that can help the complexion?
Well, I read you a bunch of them. It's
I knew
because
that some of them, I know personally some of them, but I couldn't tell you how many of them were the best.
no, definitely some of these are the best. Um, a big thing having to do with, with what you eat. It's not just what you eat, it's what you drink. Okay. So if I
Mm.
can talk about hydration for a second. Oh, first of all, can I say that I'm 66 years old?
You can. I'm going to call you a liar, but okay.
Okay, I'm 66 and I kind of go through this every single time I'm talking with somebody and age comes up and they look at me and they're going like, "Okay, you're lying. Like no way." I'm like, "I am. I'm 66. My daughter's 33, my son is 28. I'm married 39 years to the same guy and you know, I'm 66." Okay. So so talking about hydration. Um, sometimes we think that drinking water is enough, right? And it's been said drink half your body weight in ounces.
Hmm.
And drinking plain water is not enough. And I'm a great example of that. There was, it was a July about 20 years ago. I had a booth at a street fair, and July in New York is really hot. And I drank, I don't know how much water the entire day, but just water the entire day. And I ended up in the hospital that night.
Yikes.
And they told me that I was dehydrated. And I said, "How can I be dehydrated? I drank like I must have drank like 100 ounces of water, if not my total body weight in water." Like, and they said that there was nothing in your water, it was just water. So you're just flooding your body. And so then I learned after that, put a little bit of coconut water in your water, or lemon juices or orange slices, or just something. I will say big time, just don't do the sugar drinks. I'm not going to bash any, companies that sell big bottles of orange colored stuff. You know,
Right?
some of those are great for, like sports drinks and whatever, but they pump you full of sugar, and then you end up in those high-low crashes, because as you're crashing, you need more. And
Right.
then you end up, taking in like tons of sugar into your body. So, so I definitely learned my lesson the hard way. So putting something in your water, even if it's a big pitcher in your refrigerator with cucumber slices in it, or something, because cucumber slices can last in your refrigerator like 4 days. Just keep refilling it with water, and you've got
Mm-hmm.
that cucumber, you've got something more than just water. There is a hydration drink that I really like, and it's like little packets that you add to water, but it says to add this packet to like 20 ounces of water, but I'll add
Mm-hmm.
that little packet to like 40 ounces of water, because I'm not much for like big flavored stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
hydration is huge. And if you have questions, if anybody has questions, definitely reach out to me and we can talk more about hydration, because that is really big time important. Um, and when you wake up in the morning, your body is as dehydrated as if you sat on a plane for 5 hours and drink a thing. And first thing in the morning, I'm not telling you to drink a glass this size of water, but start sipping at water. Because if you drink too much too fast, you're just flooding your organs. You don't want to do that, but just sip at it, drink it. But the first thing in the morning should be getting water into your body. And I think that that could be a part of the complexion and looking decent. I'm going to say healthy fats. Avocado is really important,
Mm-hmm.
and just being mindful of the fats that you're eating. I saw on a label somewhere like organic canola oil and some ingredient somewhere. And I'm like, first of all, canola oil is so processed.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my allergy things when I go when I go out to eat, allergic to canola oil.
Right.
But
Right.
um, but I don't know how or why anybody would think that organic canola oil could possibly be healthy when it's such a processed fat to begin with. So watch your oils.
Yeah. I canola oil. I come from a farm, and so some of my family member used to grow canola oil. So I got to learn a lot about that. And then I did massage work and would blend my own oils. And I wouldn't even put canola oil on the outside of somebody's body, no less on the inside of their body. So nut oils are some of the oils that I had preferred to mix and stuff with, just
Mhm.
because they're better, like peanut oil. Although it's not a great oil to do that with, peanut oil's consistency is good. Then I would hear people talk about grapeseed oil, and I was like, grapeseed oil is what we use on wood because it's so what it does to the wood. You don't want that doing that to your body. So understanding what kind of oils is super important. That I learned a long time ago.
Yeah. And just being mindful of what you're eating. I think that's a big thing with me. It's like I ended up, with health challenges a while ago, and I don't know how much you and I ended up talking about this, but it was about 15 years ago that I had gone to a doctor for a checkup, and the doctor said you're pre-diabetic and medication is the only solution. And I said, no, I'll see you in 12 weeks. And I did go back to see him 12 weeks later. I had made one change to my diet, one change. I went back to see him. I was 10 pounds lighter and made that one change, and my blood sugar was totally fine. He told me whatever I did, keep doing it. And yet he did not want to know what my secret was.
Of course he doesn't.
So I told him to have a nice life because I was never going back to see him again. That one change, you want to know what that one change was?
Yes, ma'am.
Sugar. Sugar. That was that one change that long ago, 15 years ago. And then a couple of years after that, I had, I'll call it a Lyme disease scare, where I had symptoms that sent me to the emergency room, and doctors could not figure out what was going on. They had no idea. I ended up, instead of going the route to get confirmed that I had Lyme disease, I went to a natural doctor, opted for a couple of supplements at that time and made some more dietary changes. So that's when I pulled out the gluten, the soy, the rice, the whatever, the canola oil, and
Mm-hmm.
all these other things. And for the most part, those things have remained out of my diet for 12 years. And, so when you talk about like, how you can look better, right? It's like, okay, just pay attention to what you're eating. Because I'll tell you straight out, a vice that I had up until a few months ago was a certain company's potato chips. Came in a bright red bag. It was the ruffled kind, made with potatoes and canola oil,
Of course.
salt, and I love them. And I could eat like an entire family size bag of them at a time. And then I would feel horrible, like horrible. And then I saw some video, documentary, something about this guy that ended up in the hospital. He's lying in the bed, and they took blood samples from him, and they have the blood in vials. And the blood was really cloudy. And then on top of the blood, it was almost like a white foamy thing. And that was his blood. So the lab tech is looking at this, like, cannot figure out what it was. And he goes and he asks the guy, okay, can you tell me what did you eat these past couple of days? And the guy was like naming all these fast foods and all this junk stuff and drive-throughs and everything that he was eating. And the lab tech is like, okay, that may explain this. And then when they were going to do the surgery, it was for blockages in his arteries. And they showed this video of them pulling out, almost like with a tweezer, pulling out this white solid string, basically, the blockages from his arteries. And I looked at that and I went, okay, I'm done with these potato chips.
Yeah, that would be enough to make you done with the potato chips. Yeah,
Right?
I did that with milk. I did that with, I haven't had milk, a glass of milk for years and years, probably
Mm,
over 30 years, just because I learned some stuff about milk, just like you did. And it's like, okay, well, I'm done with milk.
I'm done.
I'm done. But it was milk, I haven't let go of the cheese. So there's a minor issue there. But we're talking about cheese. I lived in Europe, and Europe, they don't have yellow cheese. There's no yellow cheese. All their cheese is white. Doesn't matter whether it's cheddar or it's all white cheese. They don't add the yellow coloring to it.
And it's also raw dairy, right? It's not pasteurized, I'm
Right,
sure.
right, right. And so the only thing that they did that I didn't understand is they had shelf milk. And so was milk like we would put in our refrigerator, but it sat on the shelf. And yes, it would go bad, but they didn't have to be refrigerated. So that part I never did understand, but I wasn't drinking milk back then either. So it's the deal. Just the stuff. And it's, here in the United States, they don't restrict things like they do in other countries,
Mhm.
Europe, for instance. So we're eating stuff that's not really healthy for us. And so the only way to really know that is to either work with somebody like you who knows that kind of information, or to go and just do a deep dive and research. And that takes a long time to do.
Mhm. And I like the fact that, people, they'll come to me and ask me questions, to talk to me, whatever. And I like researching things and exploring things with them, because I will not sit there and say, do not eat this or do not eat that. It's like, hey, let's take a look at this. Let's see, or what symptoms are you having? And, to see what makes sense.
Right, right.
Because it's not my role to pounce on somebody to say, do this or don't do that. It's kind
Hmm.
of like, well, this has worked for many people. Do you want to give it a try?
Right, right, right. It's the learning, just being able to work with somebody like you who knows those types of things. So we would come to you for things like weight loss, or, my clients dealing with stress and sleepless nights. So those are really good reasons to work with somebody like you that understands that. And in your case, you help them to prep these meals and to be able to do that online with them. That's got to be amazing for the client. So, and we've come down to almost the end here. So you've talked about the ebook. So I want you to tell people how they can find you and how they can get this ebook.
Okay. Well, how to find me? I'm sure that you're going to have my information posted a bit,
Yes, it's going to be
but
below the video.
I can be texted, I can be called, I can be emailed. Very, very simple to reach me. Okay, my phone number is 845 893-7567 in New York. That's 845-893-7567. I am on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. So if you are in Hawaii, please keep in mind that you're 6 hours earlier than I am. So if you're planning on calling me, please don't. Watch your time zones.
And so as we say here, I actually did turn I put do not disturb on my phone. And so when my phone actually beeps when it's in that, it's because it's either a family member or it's a specific client that needs to have help. So I apologize for all the sounds that was coming out today. So you can find me, I'm a certified divorce coach, meaning that I have been taught the complexities of divorce. I myself, my father, and my late husband also dealt with abuse in our relationship. So I've learned the aspects of divorce and I've been through the aspects of divorce and abuse. So I understand that. You can contact me via my email at coachtinalynn@gmail.com. That's CoachTinaLynn@gmail.com. My website is divorcecoachspecialist.com. And you can find me on social media under Tina Lynn Huggins on Facebook. That's Huggins. LinkedIn under Tina Huggins. On Instagram under Divorce Coach Tina Lynn. TikTok under Divorce Tina. And so this is something super important here at the end of this, Ellen. If you can give our viewers a last bit of advice, what would you tell them?
Call me.
That's a good
Definitely.
bit of
Well, seriously, I mean, one thing that I do offer is please take me up on that. People do schedule a 20-minute mealtime consultation or whatever else wants to be talked about in those 20 minutes when it comes to, the stress, the sleep, the eating. Schedule that, definitely. But I'm going to say, just make the decision to take care of you because you are worth it and people need you. So you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. So that is like one big thing. Um, I'm going to say add some stress reducing foods into your day. Like be certain that, you pay attention to things I said, even a trail mix, right? The mixed nuts, raw mixed nuts. Don't do the salted junk in canola oil or peanut oil, just raw nuts. Add your little dark chocolate chips. That could be even your one stress reducing thing. And as I said, for the first thing, seriously, reach out to me for your complimentary mealtime consult. And I'm sure we'll have that link in the chat too, in the link.
Yes, it's going to be down below the video, so it'll all be there.
Okay, down there.
Yeah, down. So the one thing the advice that I would give you is that if you are dealing with any kind of weirdness health-wise that the doctors are kind of complexed over, they don't exactly know what direction. There's all kinds of things that the natural health field can definitely help you with in that. And so for me, you had talked earlier, Ellen, about you took one thing out of your diet, you took the sugar out and everything changed for you. So I have done that. And one of the things that I found I was allergic to was stress. I actually have a stress allergy to where certain type of stress affects me and it causes eruptions on my skin. It can cause a rash or it can cause blisters. And so it just depends. And in some cases, I end up with all of those. And one of the things that really does help me is then I go through a cleansing diet to where I can clean from the inside out. And working with Ellen, you're going to not only learn about those types of foods, you're going to be able to prep those foods in an easy way, cheaper than what I've been doing, and going through and having them in the freezer, pull them out, and they're ready to go. Shoot, you could have just anybody pop in and you can pull that out and you're ready to go with a full meal. So talk to Ellen, talk to her, and find out what she has to offer and if it's going to work for you. So in the course of dealing with my work, we're talking about abuse a lot of times. And I will tell you, early on in my divorce situation, I got to a suicidal point. And so if you are in a point that suicide is something you're contemplating, then I want you to reach out to the suicide prevention hotline so that you have somebody right there, right now to talk to you to help you through this moment. That number is simple. It's 988. It's the same number in Canada as well. You can also call a number, a suicide prevention number in the Netherlands at 113. And so if you are dealing with domestic violence or you know somebody that's dealing with domestic violence, call a domestic violence hotline. And that number is now I lost it. Domestic violence hotline is 800-799-7233. That number again is 800-799-7233. If you are in the place where you need the cops there right now, here in the US, you call 911. And once you get the cops there, press charges. Don't drop those charges, because after the charges are dropped, many times the abuse that you dealt with before those charges were put in place is much worse. That is your key out. You can dial 911 here, 999 in the Netherlands, and 112 in the UK. I ask that you please like, comment, and share this information so it can help other people. So I thank you so much, Ellen, for being with me today and sharing all of your knowledge and your beautiful smile so that everybody gets to be graced with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.